Yo, yo, yo.
LT was good, my brother.
What's goody, man? It's been a little minute. A little minute,
man. It was a week of rehabilitation on my end, man. Just trying to recover to get back to, at least to somewhat my kind of normal. But
happy belated Father's Day.
Oh, thank you, man. My little girl gave me her germs for my Father's Day gift, I guess. So those little kid germs could just keep you down for a while.
We celebrating the return of Strap. That's why I got the memorabilia on. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, thank you, man.
Return of Strap. You feel me?
Sound that roars. Yes, blessed. But another week of Who's Fighting. So I know we've missed a few, just a week. It feels like forever, but it's been a week. But let's do a real quick recap of what happened. I'll start off with, of course, boxing. I don't think too much was happening in the MMA world. I mean, there were fights, but not no big fights.
Right.
So we'll go into the boxing world. Let's talk about Jamal Charlo versus Juan Marcia Montel.
Brawl. I mean, I think it's what I expected.
You know, a lot of people were kind of it was a win still for Jamal Charlo, right? But the whole idea of he is the right guy to fight Canelo, a lot of people had question marks after that because of what Montel, how to say thing? What he did. The display that he put on. Whatever he showed during the fight, kind of put question marks in fight fans' heads.
Okay,
that he's not the guy to get Canelo out of here.
See, and personally, it's kind of what I expected. It's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that, and I watched a little bit of the Showtime 24/7.
Yep.
And I love the contrast of Charlo as the guy who's got the world. He's got it all.
Yeah.
He showed, Andre Johnson showing up to camp. Different celebrities showing up to camp. I want to say Rashad Lewis showed up to camp.
Yeah. And
then they showed the contrast of Montiel, who was humble. And I want to say it was his grandfather who said, it's set up against him because he's got all those distractions and you're going to his turf.
Right. I mean, yeah, and I think I did see that that Showtime pre-fight special. I like them. I like how they show both worlds.
Right.
But with all that being said and done, he's still a world champion, WBC middleweight champ.
To your point, I'm going to say that he is a very, very good fighter.
Yeah.
But there's a step up to
There's levels. So with that being said, do you dance with that idea that everyone was putting out in social media that maybe he's not ready for Canelo yet, as of yet?
I mean,
styles make fights probably.
Who's ever ready? Like, are you ever really ready? No, he's not ready. But, I mean, he's ready as he's ever going to be.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I like him. I like him and his brother, and I just want to see him. He's a very aggressive. One thing I like about both of them, they're not afraid to put their chin out when they fight. Great fighters, great defensive fighters too. But they could fight your fight. They could fight if you're the Mexican style. They could do that with you. If you want the technique style of the game, they could do that with you. I mean, they're exciting to watch.
What it's gonna boil down to is, can he take Canelo's punch? That's it. What's his chin like?
Yeah. That's well said. Well said on that. Can you take Canelo's flash? Moving on to one that you called out surprisingly. I didn't watch it. I watched the highlights of this one. Unfortunately, I was getting sick when I was succumbing to my sickness when this happened. This was an exhibition 8-rounder where we had Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Anderson Silva, man.
Come on, bro.
What did we witness, man?
So what people forget is that there was a 2-year stint when he broke his shin that all he could do was box.
Yeah.
And he has a background in boxing. He's a student of boxing.
Right. And he had boxing fights before, so.
He respects the sport. And
I didn't know that. That's the crazy part. I didn't know he had that.
They don't understand background. That, man. That's what people don't understand about my guy. And so I wasn't I wasn't surprised. Yeah,
dude.
That was an official bout. That was not an exhibition. They fought at 180.
Oh yeah, because they did 8 rounds. So yeah, what caught me by surprise was it was a unanimous decision to a younger fighter who's been more active as a boxer.
Actually, I think one judge did find it in favor.
Oh, it was not unanimous?
I think one judge found it in favor.
Okay, so it was a split decision.
It should have been.
So it was a split decision with an active boxer in Julio Chavez, who last fought 2020 last year. And he's been fighting, he's an ex-world champ. Let's call that. He's a champ. He's been a champ before. His opponents, questionable, but he has the miles. He has the miles and the professional ring. And from what I was seeing in the highlights, Silva was being Silva. He was exactly how you would see him in the MMA presence, bringing that into boxing, which was weird. It was just weird him pointing at where he wants Chavez to stand.
I just feel validated,
stand right
bro.
here, stand right here. Come to this angle right here.
Come on,
pointing,
bro. Like
hitting him with
looking like Roy Jones in the. Come on, man.
That was pretty cool.
I feel very validated right now. Like, it's almost absurd what I was saying, that somebody with 50 professional fights and me having doubts in them. And I was saying this, and I even second guess myself, like, are my eyes lying to me?
Right.
I just feel validated in that moment. That's all.
I mean, you've been right about a lot of calls. You called the Jake Paul. I didn't see that. I went on a whole tangent of disapproval of why would you think a non-fighting, YouTuber would fight with a former world champion MMA fighter, and I was mistaken. I swallowed my words. With this one, I didn't say too much. I was just because I know Anderson Silva is a fighter. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has that spirit of fighting. Like, he's one of those dudes who's going to fight till he's 60, I think, 50. Yeah. One of them dudes, like, just wants to fight, just wants to keep fighting. Like a Chuck Liddell type of dude, probably still doing exhibitions somewhere. Even I think he was in Chuck Liddell due to medical. I think he's not allowed to fight in Vegas. Some people, after saying miles of fighting, you're not supposed to fight. The Tito T's, they have to fight in different places.
I would love to see. I was told
because you have to go do your medicals and stuff.
He fought at 180. I would love to see if he can make 168 and fight who? Somebody. Just anybody.
Jake
Paul? Silva. If he can fight at 168 and
he'll fight Jake Paul. Jake Paul fights about that 160, or that's just
somebody. I said somebody.
That would be crazy. I think Silva will destroy him.
I said somebody. Fight somebody, a boxer that people respect.
Okay. Okay. I mean, he's 40. Remember that. Remember, boxing is a cardio game. It's a very cardio based, especially if Silva is not known. I mean, he'll kick your head off but how many people does he knock out from just straight striking, like with the hands? I mean, he does that, but there's a different ounce of gloves in mixed martial arts and boxing. UFC and boxing. And anyway, pulling from that, I was impressed with Silva. I didn't expect that, but I was happy. I had a giggle, and I'm happy that people that watched it got entertained.
Yeah.
So moving on to what just happened this weekend, Tank. Mm-hmm. What do we have to say about Tank?
That is another one that it went kind of how I expected it to go. So I think he's a natural 140.
Okay.
And I felt like
140 and 5'5", 140. That's a big 140.
His name is Tank for a reason.
That's a big 140.
His name is Tank for a reason. And
does it slow you down a little bit? Because he struggled with him. Like, people that saw the highlights and saw the knockdowns, it's not the tell of the whole story. Even Floyd had to come in and say, "Yo, on the cards, unofficially, dude is kicking your butt."
Right, which he very well should have. I mean, that height disparity.
Yeah.
So look, if you remember, those camps clash.
Right.
Tank's camp and the money team, they constantly clash.
Right.
Okay. And I think it's because Gervonta didn't want to fight at that lower weight for as long as he did. And I think Floyd was protecting his career. And it got to the point where he's like, I'm tired of making this weight. I'm tired of cutting weight. I need to go up. I'm ready to go up. And hey, he proved that the power translated.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those things where he's a naturally bigger guy, and we may have been seeing less power because he's been cutting weight.
Yeah. And just to add to that, he showed a different side to his fight where he showed a little bit of patience more than normal. Of course, he had a little bit of patience, but maybe he's respecting the bigger.
Exactly, and that's what I think it
maybe
is.
It was not the typical Tank style of fighting where you see a dude willing to risk it to get knocked out, to get the knockout, right? So his last fights, he gets tagged a lot. This fight, he didn't get tagged too much, but he got outpointed.
Right, and there's a lot.
And he was like holding back. He was not himself in that fight. And I think maybe he was respecting the reach of this dude. This dude was almost like 4 inches taller than him. I don't know.
Bruh,
some ridiculous. But
I'll say this though,
body work.
A lot of people that are close to those amateur circuits that have seen, a lot of people were saying that this was a bad fight for Tank. And he showed up and showed out.
Yeah, I mean, his opponent is respected. You know, salutes to him. You know, Mario Barrios is respected. I mean, he's a champion. And salute to Tank being a 3-division champ, which of course he could, with what he has, he could even play with another 4th division if he wants to. But like you said, something very interesting. His name is Tank, so he probably walks very heavy. He walks at a very heavy weight, and really where we want to put him is not where he really wants to be, because maybe his walking weight is like a 160. I don't think so. It's a 160 because that's a big 160. That's a big 160. If you're walking 160 at 5'3", 5'4", 5'5",
bro,
that's a big 160.
Right now I'm 5'7", walking around 160. So
that's big. That's big. So I mean, and for each his own. Maybe he feels better in his normal walking size. He still has his speed, because still 160 is still fast. I mean, you'll meet good fighters in that, still. Yeah. But moving from that, let's talk about Lomachenko's comeback after his loss from Teofimo, where he fights Japan's Masayoshi Nakatani. Same as Tank, he also got a TKO in the 9th. I saw that on highlights based. And Lomachenko put out a clinic. It looked like he was dancing. I mean, he did Lomachenko stuff. Like, I would say this: if you don't like boxing, you don't like Lomachenko. He's a dude that, yes, he bit more than he could chew. He went too big. He did the anti-Tank where you're really actually small, but you're trying to, go up in the bigger divisions. But Lomachenko's movements, I look at his micro movements, his little movements. I'm not saying he's not no Floyd Mayweather, because if we talk about micro small movements and small little things, creating different angles for where you can express yourselves with your hands and making your opponent look like, how do I tag you? How do I, Lomachenko he's an artist. I've not seen a fighter with as good hands and footwork at the same time besides him, Floyd. We know there's a lot of fighters with great footwork. We have Spence has amazing footwork too, by the way. Bud Crawford, probably a higher level than Lomo, I think. But those type of people that have the God gift of combination of hands, hand speed, and footwork, right, and just ballerinas, kind of like smooth operators in that ring. Dog, I saw that highlight. I wish I saw the full fight, but the highlights look bad.
Well, yeah, and so
it looked bad.
That was a statement fight. Like, that display was a statement. Say that I'm still here. I haven't went anywhere. I haven't lost anything except for the belts. But I'm still Loma.
I agree with you on that. I don't know where he goes from that. I mean,
I have a good idea. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. I mean, this is the perfect episode. We'll talk about ideal fights, since a lot of this weekend we don't have too many fights happening, but we could come up with some ideal fights. But yeah, that's another person that I think is in boxing limbo because of that one loss.
Loma,
and he lost to somebody that he was not supposed to lose to Tio.
No, I mean,
people that knew, you called it, but from the people putting the stuff together, that was an upset. It was an upset.
Absolutely.
Because somebody was considered superior boxing. I mean, Teofimo is stronger, bigger fighter, but was never thought to be of that IQ. Because Loma is known for his boxing IQ, his ring awareness, how he's unscathed. He's like, I wouldn't say a Roy Jones, but he's of that level where you think of like a Bud, that level fighter. And
let's talk about,
he's in limbo right now.
Brother, my man is a 33-year-old fighter bullying like little kids to me.
Right.
That's how I look at him. Like you were an amateur for so long, 300 fights,
right?
Something like that. Mm-hmm. And you're out here bullying little kids, and you met, T.O. was probably 23 at the time when he beat him. You met a kid that wasn't afraid of you. Mm-hmm. Not to say his other opponents were, but
yeah. And really, Loma was never like a boogeyman. He was just a dude. Just looked like he was just better than everybody. He was never like, and also to his defense. I mean, some of these countries, like I think he's from the Ukraine. Where is he from?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they fight, they amateurs for a long time. You're right. And I think with that being said, like even in the United States, look at somebody like Andy Ruiz. Do you know he has 200 amateur fights? So like even American amateur, most of these guys that turn pro, besides like the new crop of fighters, the guard before that, the Bud Crawford, the Keith Thurman, these dudes have been amateur fighters since they were 9. So they probably have the same fights like a Lomachenko. In the I don't know what but I know they have more than 150 for some of that crop. Not the David Haney's who came out hot from the get-go and probably had a few amateur fights and went to Olympics or whatever. And
it's about knowing the right time to step into that door.
Right. So this is a point where we will be, speeding forward into what's happening this coming week. Unfortunately, we don't have anything that I have on my docket right now, but I can talk about what's going to happen in the UFC July 10th. We have Dustin Poirier versus McGregor the 3rd. We already gave our predictions for that, but to repeat that, I think McGregor takes his second loss from Poirier. What was your call last time?
Definitely Poirier is a safe bet. I can't see that McGregor has gotten any more refocused. I think it would be great for his business and great for the sport, great for the UFC if he was able to pull this out somehow, some way. But I don't think it's likely.
Right. I have a Bellator card here, and this is going to be not this week, but I think the week of the 19th of July. I could be wrong, but you can help me fact check that. This is a women's bout. Velasquez versus Kel Hoyt. I don't know these two fighters. I won't even get into that unless you want to add to it.
Bellator 262, July 16th,
not 19th. My apologies.
Mohegan Sun. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with either one of them as well. Let's see.
Okay,
we got. Yeah, they got the card. They don't even have their.
I don't even think they have the whole lineup put together. I went on that website trying to figure that out, but. Well, moving from that, let's talk about boxing fights that are going to be coming up. We have Jamel Charlo this time versus Brian Carlos Castano. This is going to be happening July 17th. Of course, I'm going to go for Jamel. I don't know the other guy. So.
Man, he's an upstart. I mean, it looks very lopsided to me. From Argentina, has held the WBO light middleweight title since February 2021. Previously held the interim light title from 16 to 18. Yeah, he's 17. I don't know if this is right, bro. 17, 0 and 1, 12 knockouts, 5'7". So
5'7", that's a little dude. Jamel, the Charlo brothers are like 5'10", 5'11". They're big dudes. I saw them standing next to Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson's a legit 6'1" dude.
That's right.
And they're like about the same height.
And my man from Argentina is 31.
Yeah.
There's another one. Like these foreigners, man, they have a long.
Yeah, probably a legend in the amateurs, and you probably don't even know him like that.
His draw is to Erislandy Lara. That was back in 2019.
So you leaning towards Jamel?
Charlo.
All right. So talking about the big one, we have Fury versus Wilder. I think Wilder's going to take this one.
Ooh.
That's my big call. We will have a special before the fight and have the whole episode will be based on scenarios on that fight. We won't be talking about any other thing. Since this is a big event, we'll be talking about scenarios in the fight. What styles each of them, and we'll have notes, statistics, angles of where most of them are successful. It's gonna be fun. I think I was gonna pitch that to you, but I just put it out on the spot. So we'll have a day, because it's gonna be here soon, where we will be breaking down that scenarios.
Man, that fight card is stacked. It's all heavyweights, heavyweights. F.A. Ajagba versus Frank Sanchez. Robert Helenius versus Adam Konecki. Jared Anderson versus Vladimir Tereshkin. Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Dinosaurs.
Blockbuster right there. So with that being said, apologies. Last time we talked about Teofimo's fight, he got called COVID and it was moved to August 14th. So that's another one we'll have to talk about. And then,
but I can tell you some news that it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of exclusive. It's been confirmed that Teo has signed with Top Rank.
Ooh.
And so
he was a free agent for a while.
The rumors, he'd been running around talking to, I see him talking to my mans from DAZN and throwing out numbers, and I thought it was kind of clownish, but if this is true, then it kind of makes him look like a genius. But I think the number that they're looking at is 10 mil for a Loma rematch. So Gambosa's may be getting paid some step aside money.
This may be a who's fighting exclusive right here.
Yeah.
This may be I'm going to put some drums on that one.
Yeah.
And then next time, as this fight approaches, we'll have another special episode on Pacquiao versus All Spence. So fans, be on the lookout. We don't want to just rush through some of these.
I gotta say this.
We'll have to talk about angles. We have to come up with stats and everything.
I have to say this too, though. More news.
Okay.
There's been an injunction by Mikey Garcia.
Okay.
Against Manny Pacquiao. They're saying that the rumors are that Pacquiao got a $3 million advance, and they want the Pacquiao fight before Spence. So we may be talking about Spence Ugas again.
Okay. And when these big fighters clash, we definitely have to make special time for them. It's been another episode, another awesome week. LT,
who's fighting?
Boom.